Hi students, today we're going to be working on big idea and central message in a fiction book. So this would be a story with characters. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So today we're going to look at a little bit of an easier book, usually one for younger readers, but I think it will give a clear picture on what I'm looking for when it comes to big idea and a central message. So we're going to look at a book called Chrysanthemum. I'm sure a lot of you have heard this book before, and it does have a really good message to it. So I want us to be really thinking about what the big idea is, what the author wants you to take away from the story. So if I'm reading the book Chrysanthemum, I'm going to look at the title page, right? We kind of want to look at the pictures, see if we can get anything from there. We don't really know what a chrysanthemum is yet, so let's find out. Let's read this story together. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. "She's perfect," said her mother. "Absolutely," said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. "Her name must be everything she is," said her mother. "Her name must be absolutely perfect," said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew and grew, and when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner, and she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect, and then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way. "Hooray!" said Chrysanthemum, "school!" But when Miss Chudd took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. How do you think Chrysanthemum felt? She probably felt really, really bad. "It's so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on your name tag," said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "You're named after a flower." Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Miss Chudd that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. "That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet," Victoria explained. "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Miss Chudd. "Now put your head down." So we're thinking about our big idea, what we want to take away. Maybe it's being kind to others. I don't know. Let's find out. "If I had a name like yours, I'd change it," Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. "I wish I could," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "My name is too long, and it scarcely fits on my name tag," which means it doesn't. "And I'm named after a flower." "Oh, psh," said her mother. "Your name is beautiful, and precious, and priceless, and fascinating, and winsome," and said her father. "It's everything that you are," said her mother. "It's absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner of macaroni and cheese with ketchup, and even in an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. which is an older game. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream, a happy dream for her. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria as Chrysanthemum entered the playground. Let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, a chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria. Victoria is not being a very kind friend, said Miss Chudd. Now put your head down. I just cannot believe your name, Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. Neither can I, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. So she doesn't want to go to school anymore. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me. Oh, psh, said her mother. They're just jealous. And envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced, said her father. Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours, said her mother. After all, it's absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. Chrysanthemum, 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 the flowers seemed to say. The next morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. Then she assigned roles for the class musicale. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess, and Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy, Joe, Rita, and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. What's so humorous? Asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. Her name is so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on her name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. She's named after a flower. My name is Long, said Miss Twinkle. It is, said Joe. My name would scarcely fit on a name tag, said Miss Twinkle. It would, said Rita, pointing. And Miss Twinkle, said Miss Twinkle, I'm named after a flower too. You are, said Victoria. Yes. Mrs. Twinkle, my name is Delphinium Twinkle. And if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. Call me Marigold, said Joe, which is also another flower. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing. And my name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. Okay, so as we're looking back at this book, we're looking for the big idea. So we want to know, what is this book mostly about? Could it be appreciating others' differences? Could it be treating other people with respect, even if they're different? I want you to think about those. I'm not going to tell you because I really want you to think about what this book was about in your opinion. Okay? So then if you are a second or a third grader, here is your graphic organizer that you're going to be given. So the graphic organizer talks about the theme, and here's the big idea or topic. So depending on what you think it is, maybe you think it's appreciating others' differences, you would put that in this box. Appreciating others' differences could be, this person is different than you. So why should you treat them differently, or should you get to know them better, right? Then here's what the characters do or say to demonstrate the big idea. So the big idea could be appreciating others' differences. At the end, we see them kind of changing, right? They're no longer bullying Chrysanthemum, right? But they're wanting to kind of be like her and have the same type of name as a flower. And then down here it says, what's the message you take from the story? Okay, here's some examples of themes. It could be friendship, cooperation, so working together, kindness, bravery, growing up, courage, perseverance, responsibility, sharing, and acceptance. I'm thinking maybe acceptance for this one, or kindness. Okay, so I'm thinking the message could be for this story, maybe treating others with respect even though they're different from you, or just being kind to others in general. Okay, so I really want you to think about that this week. Take some time on it, think about it. There's a couple other books that you can choose from as well. You don't have to use this book. For the older students, for 4th and 5th grade, you're going to have some different books that are a little bit older for you. Okay, so you're going to have a similar assignment. So 4th and 5th grade, you're going to have a similar assignment, but it's going to look a little bit different. You're going to do a little bit more writing for it. Okay, so here it asks you the same questions. What is the big idea or the topic of this book? What did the author want you to walk away with? What is it mostly about? Is it about friendship? Is it about accepting differences? Is it about bravery? Okay, think about what you want to say in there. Then you're going to use evidence from the text to support your answer, including a quote. Okay, so I want you to think about, what is it mostly about, and then write 2 to 3 sentences about why you think that that's the big idea or topic of the book. Okay, and then down here you're going to put, what is the problem in the book and how do the characters resolve it? How does it get resolved? Well, for this book, the music teacher kind of talks with the kids and says and explains that she also has a long name, right? And so the students start to realize, oh, well, maybe it's not so different. Maybe it's not so weird for her to have that type of name. Okay, and then you're also going to use evidence from the text to support your answer and include a quote. So I want a quote to show what's the problem in the book and how do the characters resolve the problem. Okay, and then down here, the central message. What's the central message of the story and how do you know? You're also going to use evidence from the text to support your answer and include a quote. Make sure you have quotation marks if you ever copy any part of a story. Okay, so those are all going to be in your ELA module. And then here is the assignment. So this video is also going to be included in this assignment as well. If you are in the 2nd or 3rd grade, you're going to have the books A Bad Case of Tattle Tongue, which is going to be read to you. But you can always pause the book and look and kind of use what you know to write notes as you go and listen to it. There's The Recess Queen, which is one of my personal favorites. I think that one's really good, and you can also watch it. Chrysanthemum will be assigned on Epic, so you'll be able to access that through your Epic account. And then for 4th and 5th grade, you have Henry's Freedom Box that you can listen to on YouTube. And then Cake Pops with Rosa Parks, and that's going to be assigned on Epic. Those are a little bit longer, and the big idea and the central message might not be as clear, so you really got to think about it. Maybe get some help too if you're really stuck. Okay, and that's it for this week. I hope to see what you finish, and I'm just really looking forward to hearing from you. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I miss all of you.